So welcome to the show, Sandra, from Mazda Canada, and thanks for inviting me up here to the Mazda 6 launch in beautiful Okanagan. You nailed some great weather.
Yes, absolutely. We ordered it for you.
Good. All right, so I wanted to have you on to talk about Mazda. I've got a lot of questions from people who want to know about specific products, and I think we're going to start with the big one. I get so many emails and people asking, when is the CX-5 diesel coming? Because this has been promised and it's been delayed. I know a lot of it's out of your hands. Where are we with that?
Actually, we just got some great news. It's taken a lot longer than we anticipated. We've been working with the authorities on it, but we just received conditional certification from CARB.
So what is CARB? Is California Air Resource Board, right?
Yes,
right.
And it is the most stringent emissions testing in the world.
Right.
So once we get past that hurdle, we're in the clear.
So you passed EPA,
Yes.
and Canada mirrors EPA. So you get your EPA, you're certified for Canada, and then for CARB. So now what's the process? Like, does that mean that they're going to be rolling here in the next 2 weeks? Probably not.
And that probably not, no. We need a little bit of time to get up and going. There are a couple of conditions on our temporary certification. Once those are cleared, then we're good to go.
So they want a few more tweaks?
Yes, they've asked us just for a few more tweaks, and we're making those. So at least it gives us the ability now to start producing vehicles. And then if we need to, we make running changes. But I wouldn't expect on-sale timing to be for probably a few months. We want to make sure that everything's 100% before we launch it.
Would it be worth waiting until to launch it as a 2019?
It may turn out that way with the timing.
Yeah.
We're just looking at that now.
So the fall, we'll just call it a 19. Could be?
Could very well be.
Okay.
Like this is breaking news.
Yeah,
We just found out, so I haven't even been in the office to find out what's going on.
It's interesting because we had your press conference this morning for the car we're sitting in, the Mazda 6, and you said, by the way, everyone's been asking, this just came down this morning. So that's exciting for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, you hosted an event in Vancouver, I'm trying to remember, 6 years ago maybe?
2011.
2011, yeah, so 7 years ago. And you had what are called mules, right? So those were older cars with new engines in them.
Yes.
And they're all cobbled together with rivets and duct tape, literally.
We call them Frankenstein cars.
Yeah, and we got the chance to drive the Mazda 6 diesel and some other products as well. And the initial chatter back then was you're going to do CX-5 and Mazda 6. So I guess if you get this engine certified, the opportunity is there to put it in other cars.
It does. That opens up the opportunity to put it in any of our models.
CX-9 would be another great choice for that.
It would be.
All right, so
Not
stay
saying
tuned.
anything.
All right, so that is good news because regular viewers know I'm a huge diesel fan. I drive a diesel car, and I think it's a great opportunity, so good for you. All right, the other one is you announced at the New York Auto Show the new CX-9, the big three-row SUV, is going to have Apple and Android in the head unit. So where are we with that? Because everybody's going to say, well, when are we getting it in all of the other Mazda cars?
Right. In Canada, it's going to come out in the CX-9 first, which is going to be late summer. And then it will roll out into all of our other models thereafter. Probably by early 2019, every model will have it.
So even if you bought, so if you're considering the new Mazda 6 that we're sitting in, if you waited until the fall or the winter, you would probably come already in it.
Yes, correct.
Right. So and now the other news that I thought was great, because most car companies don't this. I think Kia or Hyundai were able to do it in a few of their cars, where have it reverse compatible, meaning you can put it in an older car. So you can put Android and Apple in how far back of models?
So we have the Mazda Connect system, and it was debuted back in 2012. So any models that have that system, we can do a retroactive accessory.
And you don't know what that's going to cost? Or is there a hardware change, or is it just a flash of the system?
It's both. It's hardware and software.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't have pricing yet. That's going to come out in the fall.
So that's really going to be the test of how, because people complain, I don't get Apple, I don't get Android in my head unit. Well, how much do you really want it? Are you willing to pay for it?
Exactly.
All right. So
I think people will.
All right.
We found that people have actually held off on buying a Mazda because we didn't offer it, right? So now we're really excited to be able to finally offer it. Our engineers, they were just hesitant at first because with the Mazda Connect system, they were just very diligent in making sure that it was user-friendly and that it minimized the time that the driver took their eyes off the road.
Yeah.
Right? So they just wanted to make sure that it was really working with our system.
And then the next big question I get is, you've shown some great design concepts of a compact car, maybe the next Mazda 3. So where are we in that cadence? Like, your car's now getting at the end of its run, your current car, which is, I drove one recently, still a great car, but the new one is coming. So can you give us any sort of insight into when that's happening?
Yeah, back in 2012, we started launching what we call our 6th generation of products. So we revamped everything from top to bottom, and now we're getting ready for our 7th generation. And so the Kai concept that you saw is kind of a precursor as to what you will see with our 7th generation. And those will start coming out in probably 2019.
2019. As 2019 models or in the year 2019?
Calendar year 2019.
So what was the first one to come out as a 6th generation car?
It was the CX-5.
The CX-5, and then the Mazda3.
Yeah, we had the Mazda3 with the Skyactiv engine, but then the full
Oh, that's right,
full
yeah.
Skyactiv vehicle was
Right.
CX-5.
I remember that because you put the engine in first and then you developed the rest of it. Okay, so you think that Mazda3 might be in sometime next year?
We never said it was Mazda3.
See?
But you can see the Kai concept. It's a small, compact car. So.
Yeah. If I was, okay, this is the way I always get my answer. If I was going to Vegas and I was going to place a bet on the fact that there would be a Mazda3, a new one next year, would that be a good bet?
You shouldn't gamble.
You're the only one that's ever answered it that way. So well done. All right, so what other questions? Okay, Mazda generally. I'm really surprised because every single time I drive one of your products, I always say to people, you have class above interiors. I think your interiors are excellent. You've got the center control unit with the nice integrated screens that you get in premium cars like Audi.
Yep.
Has a similar system to that. You have the best corporate average fuel economy of any brand anywhere is Mazda. Your cars all have a driver-centered design and engineering, so you have good driving dynamics. So you got all of those things going for you, but with Canada having record sales over the last few years, Mazda hasn't enjoyed the big jump like other brands. Why is that? Like, why is it that you're always kind of a step behind in terms of sales volume? What's the issue, do you think?
There's a few things going on. We made a decision a number of years ago to not stop doing fleet sales, but to minimize it, right? We just wanted to reduce it. Just because when you do fleet sales and you sell your car to rental companies, it lowers the residual value.
Yeah, it hurts you in the long run.
Yeah, so we made the decision to do that. So you may have seen a dip in our sales, and it was mostly attributed to that. The other thing is that we stepped away from playing the incentives game.
And that's big in Canada.
It is really big.
You were one of the worst offenders years ago. You remember that? There was lots of incentives, and cars only sold when there were incentives. So you backing away from that does help the residual value too.
Yes.
For people who buy.
And so we want people to buy the car because of the value we provide a lot of what we call Mazda value, Mazda premium value, and that's just better quality craftsmanship, excellent driving dynamics.
All the things I just went through, right?
Yeah. So we want them to buy it for that and not because it's been discounted. So we started doing that, and we saw a dip in our sales, and it took us a while to figure out what was the right level of incentives. We figured that out, and now I think buyers now are buying a Mazda because they like it. It's stylish. It offers everything that they want.
So the goal is obviously to bring the value of the brand up. People are willing to pay for that brand equity to get their money back when they go to resale, but also makes your car company more profitable too, if you're not always discounting them.
Yes.
So that win-win, right?
Yeah.
And so the one thing I've noticed with your brand, with this new Mazda 6, and it started with the CX-9, is you've introduced this signature line, so higher trim line that competes with premium cars. Is Mazda trying to move up market a little bit, do you think?
Again, it just goes back to the Mazda premium. We're not going to be competing with the luxury brands. We're still a mainstream brand. We'll have mainstream pricing. It's just we want to be able to offer a more premium experience. Just more refined product.
Well, putting a turbocharger in the Mazda 6 was a good idea.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it has this, the hard way to describe it is it doesn't have this big snap your head back like you would expect. It has this, this wave of power that swooshes you up. So you got zoom, zoom, now swoosh, swoosh. Work that into your marketing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next slogan.
Of all of the guests I've had on the Q&A, you're my first female guest, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. It was a great program here.
Thank you very much.